We thought it was just a parody. We thought it was just Jack Black and Paul Rudd making fun of a 90s B-movie. We were wrong. The ending of the Anaconda reboot doesn't just break the fourth wall, it eats it alive. If you think you know the secret of the Blood Orchid, you are not ready for the truth. The 2025 Anaconda reboot has finally screened, and the embargo is lifted. What was marketed as a goofy midlife crisis comedy has turned out to be one of the smartest, most terrifyingly meta-horror films of the decade. Director Tom Gormican hasn't just remade Anaconda, he's deconstructed why we are so obsessed with remaking things in the first place. Today, we are breaking down the entire leaked plot, the shocking meta-twist that recontextualizes the entire franchise, and the new Blood Orchid lore that explains why this movie exists. Major spoiler warning is in effect. If you want to go into the jungle blind, turn back now. For everyone else, let's get swallowed whole. To understand the ending, we have to establish the brilliant setup. Jack Black plays Doug, a wedding videographer whose life is falling apart. Paul Rudd plays Griff, an actor whose career peaked 20 years ago in a cop show pilot that never aired. They are paralyzed by their own irrelevance. In a desperate bid to reclaim their youth, they decide to do something insane. Remake their favorite childhood movie, Anaconda, shot for shot, in the actual Amazon. They hire a D-list crew, dragging along their friends, thinking this will be their ticket back to Hollywood relevance. The film starts as a comedy. We see them faking snake attacks with rubber props, messing up lines, and dealing with the jungle humidity. It feels like Tropic Thunder meets Be Kind Rewind. But the tone shifts at the 45-minute mark. The crew stumbles upon an area of the jungle that isn't on any map, a location Doug insists is perfect because of these strange, vibrant red flowers growing everywhere. Fans of the franchise will immediately recognize these as the Blood Orchids. But here is the first layer of the new lore. In the 2025 canon, the Blood Orchids aren't just a fountain of youth for snakes, they're a psychoactive hallucinogen that feeds on nostalgia. The deeper the crew goes into the orchid field, the more the line between their remake and reality blurs. They start finding props that they didn't bring, a riverboat that looks exactly like the one from the 1997 film. And then, the first kill happens. It's not a rubber snake. It's a 40-foot titanoboa that moves with terrifying, impossible speed. But here's the catch. The snake doesn't just kill them. It kills them in the exact order of the original movie script. The central conflict isn't surviving the snake, it's surviving the narrative. Doug realizes halfway through that the snake is reacting to their scenes. When they act out the script, the snake appears. When they try to improvise or leave the script, the jungle physically changes to force them back onto the set. This introduces the meta problem. They're trapped in a cursed production. The Blood Orchids have created a localized reality warp where the original movie is the only reality that matters. The snake is the enforcer. Doug becomes obsessed. He starts to believe that if they finish the movie perfectly, they will survive. He transforms from a goofy friend into a tyrannical director, mirroring Jon Voight's villainous character from the original. He starts sacrificing crew members to get the perfect shot, convinced that the Blood Orchid will grant them eternal fame if they complete the ritual of the film. Griff acts as the voice of reason, realizing that in the original movie, almost everyone dies. If they finish the remake, they're doomed. This is where the script gets incredibly smart regarding the lore. In the 2004 sequel, the flowers just extended life. In 2025, the lore is expanded. We learn through a found journal that the orchids don't just extend biological life, they extend cultural life. The orchids are a metaphor for franchise IP. They keep things alive way past their natural expiration date. The snakes grow huge because they never die. The story keeps repeating because the orchids feed on the energy of remaking the past. The snake isn't just an animal, it is the physical manifestation of the reboot. It is a bloated, monstrous version of the original that consumes the new cast to sustain itself. The more Doug tries to capture it on film, the bigger it gets. The commentary is scathing. Hollywood's obsession with nostalgia is literally eating the new generation of creators. The climax takes place at the iconic waterfall, mirroring the 1997 finale. Doug has gone full method actor villain. He holds Griff at gunpoint, forcing him to act out the final battle. The massive Anaconda rises from the water, a mix of practical effects and terrifying CGI. But Griff refuses to say his lines. He drops the script into the water. He screams, "We don't have to do this. We can write something new." This act of creative rebellion hurts the snake. The monster glitches, literally glitches like a bad visual effect, revealing that their reality is becoming unstable. The blood orchids begin to wither. But Doug won't let it go. He dives after the script. In a moment of tragic horror comedy, Doug realizes that to complete the movie, there needs to be a main villain death. He looks at the snake, looks at the camera, which is still rolling, and screams, "It's a wrap!" He sacrifices himself, jumping into the snake's mouth, detonating a flare vest. It's a heroic, stupid, and perfectly Jack Black way to go. The explosion destroys the snake and burns the blood orchid field. The screen cuts to black. We think the movie is over. Then we hear voices. Cut. Check the gate. The camera pulls back, and back, and back. We see a massive green screen. We see studio lights. We see craft services. We are not in the Amazon. We are in a soundstage in Los Angeles. A studio executive walks in, played by a de-aged John Voight in a shocking cameo. He looks at the footage of Jack Black's death and Paul Rudd crying. He smiles and says, "The realism is incredible. The shareholders are going to love this. Reset for take 2. This is the meta twist. The entire movie, the midlife crisis, the trip to the Amazon, the real snake, was all a fabricated reality show, an immersive movie experience orchestrated by the studio. The blood orchids were a drug administered to the actors to make them believe the danger was real, so their fear would be authentic. Doug isn't dead. He's just wrapped. We see Jack Black climb out of a prop snake head covered in slime, asking, "Did we get it?" The ending of Anaconda 2025 is a cynical, brilliant punchline. It suggests that in modern Hollywood, nothing is real, and suffering is just content. The characters thought they were fighting for their lives, but they were just fighting for engagement. Griff realizes the truth. He looks around the soundstage, sees the artifice, and realizes his midlife crisis was monetized by the studio. The film ends with him walking off the set, past a row of animatronic snakes, exiting into the blinding sunlight of the real world, leaving the franchise behind. The lore of the blood orchid has shifted from immortality to artificiality. It represents the drug of fame that makes actors willing to endure hell just to be in a movie. It's a dark, satire-heavy ending that elevates this reboot from a cash grab to a cult classic. Did you love the meta twist, or did you want a classic monster movie? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to see how Alien Romulus also rewrote its own lore, click this video right here.